So I'll again start. So we have to create a databases folder. So I have just created a databases folder using mkdir command. So we got our databases folder here. Now we want to start the MongoDB server. So we will use MongoD, then space hyphen db path. Here we'll specify the databases folder path. So we are currently into the same directory. So I'll just use dot and then slash databases. And if you want to specify the entire directory path, you can do that. But if you have a spaces in folder, just make sure that you are using or wrapping everything, the entire path in double quotes. Okay, only if you have a spaces. If you don't have spaces, it's okay to omit those double quotes, and it's always a good practice to use double quotes. Okay, that's also good. Okay, now we have specified databases path. Now next we need to specify log path. So we are where we are going to store our logs. So let's say I use the same databases folder to store the logs, but you need to specify for logs. You need to specify the log file name. So I'll just say my logs.log. So mylogs.log. So this file will be created inside a databases folder itself. If you want to create a separate logs folder for that, you can create first folder and then use that path. Okay, and then you can start the. If you want to start the server directly, you can directly start it. But this will just start the server, and your means it will not start in the background. Okay, if you open the another terminal and run mongo sh, you will be able to connect to this database. Okay, just press Control C, you will come out of here, Control D. But if you want to stop it, you can just press Control C here, your database will stop. Okay, and if you again try to do Mongo sh, you will see can't connect to it because the server is stopped. Okay, but if you want to start the server in background, okay, so you can use hyphen fork. Okay, hyphen fork will basically fork a separate process for it, and it will your MongoDB server will start in the background. Okay, just hit enter and you will see the next new process has been created with 72075 ID. Okay, now if you try to connect your MongoDB using Mongo asset, you'll see you are able to connect to the database. Okay, so this will basically start your the MongoDB server in the background. Okay, but if you now after starting, if you want to kill the server, then if you're on Linux or Ubuntu or Mac, then you can use sudo kill command and then type in the this process ID 72075. Okay, or if you are on Windows, then you can use terminal. Sorry, not terminal. Task manager to find your MongoDB process. There you will find a MongoDB process. Just right click on it and stop. Then it will be stopped. Okay. Uh, yeah. So that's how you can. So my server is started now. Now once your server is started, I don't need a terminal, so I'll just close it. Okay. Now how do I connect to this database? Okay. So your database server is started. I want to connect to this database server. Okay. Now if you see when I have connected to Mongo asset to Mongo asset. Okay, if you notice at the start, you'll find the connection string here. Okay, which is nothing but MongoDB colon slash slash 127.0.0.1, that is localhost colon 27017. This is actually the port number. Okay, so by default MongoDB starts on 27017 port. Okay, and this is your connection string. Okay, rest all are the its parameters just for its MongoDB. Okay, we can omit them if required. Okay, but this is the basic your MongoDB string. So to connect to the MongoDB database, we need this string. Okay, this query string. Okay, so we'll use this query string to connect to the database. But now, how do you connect to the database? Okay, now every time, let's see. It's not just for MongoDB, but for any database. Okay, whenever you want to connect any database to your backend application. Okay, let's say whether it is Node.js, whether it is Java based, or it is .NET based, it is Django, Python based. Okay, if you want to connect to a database, you need a driver. Okay, interface, basically you can say interface or driver, which will help us to connect to the database. Okay, and for that, now if every language has their own driver or own database specific drivers. Okay, database specific, huh? It's not just common for every database. Every database has their database specific drivers for every language. That means if you come, if you are connecting to a MySQL database through Node.js, there is a separate MySQL database driver. Okay, if you want to connect to a MongoDB, there is a separate MongoDB database driver for Node.js. If you want to connect to SQL server, there is a separate SQL server driver for Node.js. Okay, now each and every database, actually these drivers are provided by the database providers. That means MySQL itself provides this driver. MongoDB itself provides this driver. Okay, or they can be third-party drivers as well. Okay. Now, if you go for any other language, those language will also have database-specific drivers. Okay. When you come to MongoDB, MongoDB will and with Node.js, so we'll have a MongoDB driver for that. But we won't be using that MongoDB driver directly, because using a driver directly will have you will have to do a lot of stuff or a lot of boilerplate code by your own. Okay, I mean, connecting to the database, then creating now handling its connections, or doing some operations like CRUD operations. You'll have to do manually. Okay, that will be a boilerplate code. Boilerplate code in the sense that code will be you will be creating that code many times. Okay, and it is unnecessary, because you can't, your focus should be on the business logic, because you are developing an application. Your focus should be on the business logic. Okay, so you won't be, you then, if you focus on the stuff which is not necessary or which is repeatable. Okay, or it is like will be repeated or every time in every application or in every case, then you are wasting your time, right? So what we will do is we will use some um, library, okay, which will have this stuff already in there, like using the Mongo database driver and all. It will just provide us the interface and with some extra functionalities, okay, which is nothing but ORM based, like functionalities, where ORM is nothing but object relational mapping. Okay, so when you have a database and your application consists of objects, right? So your objects should be mapped with the database tables. Okay, that is called as relationship mapping. Okay, so every database table or every database rows will be mapped with your object. Okay, so that is called as ORM. So we have a lot of ORMs for that, but popular with MongoDB is nothing but your Mongoose. Okay, so Mongoose is the library which is very popular with your MongoDB. Okay, so you can just search for Mongoose. You will see mongoosejs.com. You can click on it. Okay, it's ODM. Okay, again, object data mapping. Okay, it's actually object data mapping here in this case Mongoose, because it's a NoSQL database. We don't have a relationships over here. Okay, so that's the reason it's called as ODM, object data mapping. Whereas if you go for MySQL or SQL Server, it's called as ORM, where it is object relation mapping. Okay, so where we have data plus relations are also there. Okay, so in case of SQL type of database, it's ORM, and when it comes to NoSQL type of database, where we don't have relationships, it is called as ODM, object data mapping. Okay, so here they have mentioned how to connect to the database. Okay, first of all, we need to install the Mongoose. Okay, now how do you install it? You can just go to the read the docs, and you can go to quick start here. Okay, you will find the installation command over here. It's npm install and Mongoose. Okay, so let's go and install this. Okay, so I have already have this application, so I'll just use npm install Mongoose. Okay, hit enter. Your Mongoose will be installed, and you will find that in a package.json file here in the dependencies section. Okay, see, Mongoose is installed. Okay, now you can start your server. Okay, you'll find that your server is started, but we haven't connected to the database. Okay, we have a database started over here. Okay, which is already running on localhost and 27017 port. You want to connect to the database. Okay, how do you connect it? To connect to the database, first of all, you'll go to server.js file, because here this is the file where your server is getting started, or where server is configuration is getting uh, created here. Okay, now I want to connect to the database. How do you connect it? First of all, let's import your mongoose. Okay, so it's const mongoose equals to require mongoose. Okay, so we have imported mongoose. Now let's connect. Okay, now here you can connect it anywhere. Okay, I'll just connect it after the my middlewares. Okay, just before using your MongoDB database. Okay, just make sure you are using it before, or connecting to the database before. Or if your entire application is dependent on MongoDB database, then you can wrap this entire thing inside that MongoDB connection. Okay, when the connection is created, then only we will start the server. Otherwise, it's not okay to start the server. Okay, but it's not necessary every time to start use database. So we'll directly start it here. Now, how do you start it? Because if you see, there is a if you see the documentation. Okay, in the documentation they have written this mongoose.connect. Okay, and as you can see, they are using async await pattern. Okay, that means it is a promise based. Okay, this connect method is a promise. Okay, it's a returning promise. If you see, I'll just type mongoose.connect. Okay, see this method, it's actually a callback. Okay, it's a callback based method. Okay, we have various options as well here. Okay, you can see it returns promise as well. Okay, so we have various methods, three methods, which where the callback method is also there. Means we have two patterns. One is callback pattern. You can use callback pattern, or you can use promise based method as well for connect. Okay, so since it is a returning promise, we can wrap this code inside a sync await. Okay, so let's call a function here, and I'll just do one thing. I'll see what I'm doing here is I'm using immediately invoked function. Okay, I don't need this function. This function is basically created and executed immediately. Okay, I'm not going to call this function every time. This is just a one-time calling, right? So you don't need to create a separate function and then call it again. It's up to you. If you want to create a separate and then call it, it's up to you. Okay, I just want to wrap it, just call it immediately. I don't want to give a name to it, so we can use this method directly. Okay. Now this, since connect is a promise based, we have to write a sync function here, a sync here. Okay. And before this, we'll write await. Okay, which is the same which we have done here. Okay. The only thing is that they are creating a separate main method here, and then they are calling it separately. Okay, now in the connect method, you can find we have a URI is nothing but the connection string. Okay, to which the your database you are going to connect. Okay, so here connection string is MongoDB colon. Okay, you can see it's MongoDB colon this is okay, localhost colon 270. You can type in 127.0.0.1, or if you are on localhost, you can type localhost as well, 27017. Okay, and after this you need to specify the database name to which you are going to connect to. Okay, right now if you see, we just created a database here. Okay, if you do mongo sh, we don't have many databases. If you use show dbs, you will see there are admin, config, and local, no database. Okay, so we would want to create a database directly, which we have a application for MediServe. So I'll just write a database name as MediServe. Okay, so this database will be created automatically. Now, when you do it through Mongoose, what Mongoose does is Mongoose, whenever you run it, it will automatically create the database for you. Okay, even without inserting anything into it. Okay, that is possible. There is a command called as db.create database, through which we can directly create a database. Okay, so Mongoose does it for you. Okay, there is a db.create database method, Okay, where you can specify the database name here, and it will create the database like this. Okay, I don't want to create it now, so MongoDB will automatically create it. You will see that here. Okay, now this is when you run this code. Okay, now currently I haven't saved it. Okay, so if you run it, what what it will do is it will run this function and it will connect to the database. Okay, but how will I know that the database connection is successful or not? Okay, so what you can do is you can just write console.log below. Okay, now you know is connect is nothing but a promise, right? It is returning promise because we are using await. If there is an error, then we should handle that error as well. If there is no error, then it will go below and will print something. Okay, so if you want to handle it, we can use try catch block. If you remember in the sync await pattern, if you want to handle exceptions, then we use try catch block. Okay, so here we can handle error, and if there is an error, then we can write console.log error here. Okay, whatever the error will be, and here we will say database connection successful. Okay. So then database connection successful. Now you will see server is running. Deprecation warning. Mongo's strict query option will be switched to false by default in Mongo 7. Use Mongo strict query false if you want to prepare for this change. Separate this one. Okay, that's fine. Okay. It is not able to connect to the database. Let me check 127.0. Maybe on my machine it is on my machine you need to add IP address. Okay, because I have a set database that way. Okay, it should only accept IP address, not localhost. So just if the localhost doesn't work, use 127.0.1. You can see database connection successful here. Okay, so that's how you can connect to the database. Okay, understood everyone? If I just stop the server, okay, and you can see uh, just stop the server. Okay. So the IP address was, well, no, sorry, process ID was 72075, right? So I'll just kill it, sudo kill this, last the password. And now if you save it again, and you will see now it is trying to connect. Okay, now it's trying to connect. After some time, you will see connection failure. Okay, connection refused or something. See, it is taking time. That means it is not able to connect. That means our server is, your MongoDB server is down. Okay, I can start it again. Let's wait for that. For time. Okay, you can see connection refused. Okay, that's because your server is not running. Okay, now let's go and start your server. It started on 72498, and now save it again. You'll see database connection successful. Okay, it immediately connects to the database. The connection is successful. Understood everyone how to connect to the database using Mongoose? Okay, good. Great. Then install MongoDB using npm I mongoose, and then try to connect to the database using this method. Once done, let me know. So is it done? Is it done? No. Okay. And about others? Okay, good. Okay. Now let's see. See, we are successfully able to connect to the database. Now we want to persist the data to our database, right? So for this, right now what we are doing is we are using in-memory data, okay, which is users array here, and we are just manipulating that users array and using that users array. Okay. Now, what if you want to persist this data into the database? Okay. Now for that, we need to have this. See, we are using this object, right? This ID, name, and age, where ID is a number, name is a string, age is a number, right? So this is the object. This is a structured object. Now in MongoDB, we know it's not no SQL. There is no structure, right? Now for that purpose only, we are using Mongoose so that our data can be structured. Okay, and this object that we are seeing it over here, that we can map it to the database data. Okay, now it's in the MongoDB, it doesn't matter. Okay, what data you are inserting, which type of data you are inserting. Okay, so even if you insert name in a number, string, boolean, it doesn't matter for the MongoDB. Okay, but for our purpose, we want to restrict the data type for that particular field. Like let's say name, we want only string. Okay, we don't want boolean or number. Okay, we can restrict it, but to restrict it, we have to do it programmatically. Okay. Now Mongoose so here what Mongoose shines. Okay. So here Mongoose will help you to give data types to each and every field. Okay. And for every field, whatever the data type you will specify, it will provide you the validations as well, validation errors as well. Okay. That means you can provide the schema programmatically. Okay. Now, if you want to do it without using Mongoose, you have to do a lot of boilerplate code. Okay, which is what I was telling you, that you have to do it for every time. Okay, in this case, you don't have to do it. You just have to create the schema. Mongoose will take care of handling validation and everything for you. Okay. Obviously, in the database, it doesn't matter. Okay, even if you enter name as a boolean, it will not matter to MongoDB. Okay, because MongoDB doesn't have validation or data type, what you can say, restriction for any field. Okay, but we can do it through programmatically, and that's what we are going to do with Mongoose. Okay, now when you want to do or create a schema, okay, now here is what the structure that I follow is basically for every object, okay, there should be one schema, right? So here we have a user object. So for user object, we can create a schema. Okay, so we can create a separate folder for this. We can name it schemas or we can name it models. Okay, now why I'm calling models, because when you create a schema, okay, schema is just a field, okay, field and its type. Okay, but to perform operations like CRUD operations like select, find, update, delete, save. Okay, to perform these operations, we need a model. Okay, and this model is also provided by Mongoose. Okay, so you don't have to worry about writing those queries. Okay, just you can obviously you need to perform, if you are performing find query, you have to write those where conditions and all, but the internal part, okay, or you can say the baseline part is done by Mongoose for you. Okay, so I'll create a model for user here. Let's create a new file. Let's name it as user.js. Okay, since it's going to be a single user schema, so I'm just writing user.js, not users.js. Okay, now how do you create a schema? First of all, let's import mongoose equals to require mongoose. So I've imported mongoose. Now next thing is we are going to create a user schema. So I'll write const user schema equals to new mongoose dot schema. Okay, now this is schema is a class, and in this class the first parameter is nothing but the definition or the schema object that we are going to specify. Okay, it's an object, we need to pass it here. So we, what fields we have id, name, and age. Okay, But in MongoDB, we know ID is automatically generated. Okay, so we don't need ID, and it's actually a unique ID underscore ID, and it's object ID if you remember. Okay, so we don't have to create ID. We can create name and age. Name, I know name is going to be a string, so I'll specify string. Okay, now whenever you specify the type for schemas, okay, in Mongos, you just have to type specify the type in a capital, starting with a capital letter. Okay, it's a capital, or you can say Pascal case. Okay, string S is capital, comma, then age is a number, so just specify number here. Okay, that's it. We are just going to create a simple schema here. Okay, user schema where name and age will be there. Okay, let's add one more field. Let's add it later on. Okay, for now, we'll just keep it for two fields. Okay, just for simplicity purpose. This is my schema. Okay, now once the schema is created, the last thing remaining is create a model out of this schema. Okay, so how do you create the model? You can use mongoose dot model, and there are two parameters that you need to specify. First is name for this model, so it's going to be user. So I'm typing u as capital because this class. Okay, just increase the okay, user use capital, and the second part is schema. So schema, just we have created user schema. Okay, now this model, now how are you going to use this outside of this user model? Okay, user.js file. So to use this model, we will just export it. So we can use model.exports equals to this. Okay, so we can directly use this user model outside of this file. So our schema is created, our model is also created. Okay, now if you can go to user routes.js, here we will replace everything with uh, your user schema. Okay, so first of all, I'll just replace this get all users. Okay, for now, if you see get all users, okay, I'll just open the postman. If you see get all users, it will return you this three fields, three objects, okay, array of objects, because we have users array and we are returning that users array. Now, instead of you returning this users array, what we will do is we will return the data from your database. Okay, for now there won't be any database, so it will be blank array. Okay, because we haven't created anything. Okay, but how will you write a query to return? Okay, now if you remember, we have a find query in MongoDB where we can specify dot find method, and using that find method we can retrieve all the records of that of that collection. Okay, so here also we can do the same thing. Here I'll use object, and that object, let's say data colon. Okay, now first of all, you need to import the user model here. So I'll just write user equals to require dot slash user, not user dot yes, it would be dot slash. Actually, it should be outside of this routes, right? We know users routes is inside the routes. You want to go one level up, so you'll write dot slash and then model slash and then user. Okay, don't need to specify user dot this. And remember, I'm specifying US capital because it's a class or model object that is written. So I'm just writing US capital. It's up to you. You can write small, but make sure the object names and model names doesn't conflict with each other. Okay. So, and one thing, see, when you are using model, since whatever operation you are going to do, like whether it is the find operation or create or update or delete, whatever operation that you will do, all these operation are database operations. That means they will you will be connecting to the database, you're firing some queries to the database, and that connection, the database query will fire. Now right now the database is on the same local machine, but in production the database will be in a different machine, so it will be a network call. Okay, so your database call will go through some network, it will be on another server. Okay, this is going to take some time. Okay, so this is a asynchronous operation, this should be asynchronous operation. Okay, because this is going through network, right? So this should be asynchronous operation. Now, asynchronous operations are basically, you can say, promise based. Okay, we can put them in a promise. Okay, so for that we need to wrap. We can use promise. Okay, like dot then dot catch. But now you can see that since async await is already there, we don't need to use dot then dot catch. Okay, we can simply write async here. Okay, since this is a function, okay, this require request response listener is a function, we can simply write async here. Okay, and then we can specify await. Okay, because here we are going to find user dot find. You will find one, find by id, remove. A lot of methods are there. Okay, we are just going to use find method because this find method will return me all the records. Okay, this is going to return me all the records. Okay, now here I'll just save it. You can see it is database connection is successful. Now let's go and send this API or call this API. Send, and you will find data is blank. Okay, because we don't have anything in the users collection now. Okay, if you go and connect to the database, okay, Mongo SH, you'll find show DBs and you will find Mediser DBs created. And if you switch to the DB, like use Mediser, and if you show collections, you'll find there is a users collection is created. And if you do db.users.find, okay, you will see nothing is been returned because we don't have any collection into this or any record into this collection. Okay, so that's how we can create a schema and create a model out of the schema and fire a find query on that schema. Understood? We just converted our get all API to use the MongoDB database. Now we are going to convert all the APIs to use database, but for now, just convert this one, then later on we will do it. Okay, we understood this, how to create a schema and model and how to use it. Remember this async await, okay, because this is going to be a network call, okay, or a asynchronous call. So we have to write async await here. Okay, sometimes we write await here and we forget to write async. Sometimes we write async here and we forget to write await. Okay, so make sure you are using both of this. Okay, async for the function and await where you are using promise based call. Okay, okay, write it down. Once done, let me know. I'll be back in 2 minutes. Okay.
Sir,
Yes,
currently you fired the find method inside response.json.
yes,
So can we perform that operation first, and then we can just send the
yes,
data
yes.
from?
That also you can do. Since I'm not going to use that variable anywhere, so I'll just use,
Okay.
you can do like this as well.
Yes.
Users
Yes.
equals to await and then user
Yes.
dot find. And then you can pass this user's update here, array here. This will also do the same thing. Send it and you will get it again. Okay.
That
So
won't affect any kind of performance, no?
no, it won't affect,
While
but
using
yeah,
that.
yeah. But basically, you are just creating a variable, okay?
Yeah.
Allocating a memory for that variable. So that's fine. Even if you do that, that is also fine. But try to optimize everything,
Okay.
because when you have a lot of users or a lot of connections requests coming to your server, at
Hmm.
that time you want your server to utilize as minimum memory as possible.
Okay.
Okay, so your application can serve more requests. Okay, so it's
Yes.
better to use as small memory as possible.
Okay.
Is it done?
Hello, sir. Can I share my screen?
Sure. Yes.
Uh, Error. Model not found.
Which module not found?
Model is user.
Models. It's dot dot slash models. It's not dot dot models. Dot dot will take you to one directory up, and after that you have to write slash. Now check.
इस ये थोड़ी देर रुकता है और उसके बाद फिर से एरर आता है.
No, no. Now call the API. वो API कॉल करने के बाद आएगा.
क्या करना है?
API कॉल करो ना. डेटाबेस कनेक्शन तो सक्सेसफुल है आपका.
हाँ.
हाँ, तो अभी API कॉल करो. क्या हो गया? एरर आया?
हाँ.
ओके, गो टू द टॉप. कनेक्शन रिफ्यूज्ड. ये क्या, वन आईपी एड्रेस को डाला है आपने? गो टू server.js. कनेक्शन कहाँ पे किया? हाँ, आईपी एड्रेस को डाला है यहाँ पे. 127.0.0.1:270.
127.
0.0.1 लोकल होस्ट का आईपी एड्रेस.
127 पॉइंट.
लोकल
फिर
होस्ट
से
का आईपी
बता.
एड्रेस नहीं पता?
ओके ओके सॉरी सॉरी.
क्या आता है? डालो डालो. 127.0.1 कोलन 27017. लोकल है, इसका आईपी एड्रेस भूल जाओगे तो कैसा चलेगा? अच्छा हुआ इंटरव्यू में ये क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछते। हम्म।
फिर से वार्निंग बता रहा है सर।
हाँ वार्निंग ठीक है, एरर नहीं आ रहा।
ओके, देखती हूँ, फिर से बताती हूँ फिर।
अभी तो नहीं होगा। Is it done everyone? बाकी सबका हो गया क्या? ओके गुड, ठीक है। So let's go move ahead. Yeah, now I'm able to find all the users. Now let's do a create operation first, then we will check whether find operation is correctly working or not. Okay, so in the post method we are doing create operation, right? Now in the create operation we are accepting name and age, okay, from the body, and then we are using this to create an object. Okay, so we'll use the same method to create an object, but now here, instead of writing directly this object, we will use new user. Okay, because we are going to create a new user object, and in this object we are going to pass our document. Okay, now this document will contain the fields, okay, which is name, comma, it will be age. Okay, so these two fields you will see they will automatically come as a suggestion. You can see if I do press control space also, we will see this age is coming here. Okay, you can hit enter, and I don't need to write 8:8 because both the field name and variable name are same. Okay, and I don't need to specify ID as well because underscore ID will be created automatically for us. Okay, now we don't need to do users dot push because we are not going to push to the server database, push to the array. What we are going to do is we are going to save this. Okay, now to save it, how do you save it? Okay, now again it's going to be a database call, so we have to wrap it inside a sink. Okay, now we can write a wait here, and we can do user dot save. Okay, obviously if you want to do it before, like in a separate variable, and then do it, it's up to you. Okay, now this save operation may encounter some errors, like if you don't specify age or anything. Okay, right now it's all things are optional. Okay, but even though if you specify, if you want to specify if you introduce validations later on, then in that case some errors might, and you might encounter some errors. Okay, so in that case what you can do is we can wrap this code in a try catch block. Okay, we can either wrap this entire this code like this. Okay, and then we can say catch error here, and we can, if there is an error, we can send response dot status. Okay, now while saving it, it may be an error with client side error, or it can be server side error. Okay, we don't know, but you can handle that based on the error code. Okay, this error dot code, you can check it out later on. Okay, but for now I'll just say client side error because most of the time it will be client side error, and here I will say data colon error. Okay, whatever the error is coming, I'm just sending it as a error here. Okay, now let's see, try to save it. Okay, if you see my database connection is successful, let's try to create the user. Okay, now here we are using user schema here. Let's go to postman. Let's use post method here and body. Okay, in the body use raw section JSON curly brace enter name colon and age colon 24. Okay, now let's send it and check whether the API is working or not. Send it, and you will see the data is returned here. Okay, And you will see name, age. Along with that, you will see underscore ID is also written, okay, which is created by MongoDB. If you see this, that means your database is record is has been successfully inserted. And you will also see one more field underscore v colon 0. This is not a MongoDB specific. It's actually Mongoose is adding this field underscore v, which is used for versioning purpose. Okay. Sometimes you need your documents to be versioned. In that case, you can use this underscore v field. If you don't need it, you can just omit this field. Okay. You can omit while selecting it. Okay. You'll see that how to omit fields. But you will see the 201 created because we have set us as 201. Okay. And your user is created. If you want to check in the database, you can go to the database and see db.users.find, and you will find object created here. Okay. So that's how you can perform create operation. Okay. Using this, you can see most of the code is already written. Okay. So we just have to convert our code uh, to use database calls. Okay. The rest of the code is like almost similar. Okay. You just have to use a sync await, try catch block, and then use a schema model. Understood how to do create operation? Try it once done. Let me know. Is it done? Okay. What about others? Okay. Shall I move ahead then? चलो आगे बढ़ते हैं. So now create operation is done. Now let's change the get by id. Okay, so here what we were doing is, which is basically we are getting the id from the request param. Okay, so it would be like user slash id. Okay, and in this case our id would be a string. Okay, it won't be a number because it's object id. Generally it is returned as string in a json format. So you have to write slash id here and then use get method. Okay, but right now if you use it, you will not find anything and it will be user not found because we are using the users array here. Okay, so let's use our database connection here. Okay, so it would be, instead of users dot find, it would be await. Okay, now we are using await, so just make sure you are writing async here. Await user dot, you'll find by id method here. Okay, so you'll see find by id. So we directly have find by id method. Just use that find by id method and pass your id here. Okay, you don't need to worry about the id string. Okay, actually the id is stored as object id. If you see, it's stored as object id. Okay, and we are passing a string here. Okay, that so this string doesn't matter because find by id method, what it will do is, the mongo find by id method will convert this id string into object id and then it will find it. Otherwise what we will have to do is, we'll have to write like this. If you don't use find by id method, then in that case if you use find one like this, okay, in that case you have to write underscore id colon mongoose dot schema dot types dot object id and then specify id here. Okay, so this will have to write if you don't use find by id method. Okay, so it's better to use find by id. I'll just keep it here just for your reference. This out. And I'll write const user equals to await user dot find by id and we'll pass id here. Okay, and once you find the user, we'll check whether the user is found or not. If user is not found, we'll say user not found. If user is found, then we'll return that user. Okay, if you want to maintain the consistency, like object inside that, it will be data and then we pass the data to it, then just make sure you are is making the consistent response. Okay, so it is data and then we are passing the data here, also data. In the post also we have done the same thing, data and the data. Okay, if you want to pass some message with along with it, you can pass the message as well. Okay, so let's see whether this works or not. Let's go and check. Send. You'll find user with that id. Okay, if you just change the id here, okay, let's say I use, instead of 1d I use 1. Okay, and now you can see I haven't handled this exception here. If you send it, you will see some your socket hang up. Okay, because we haven't handled this exception. If you see, your app is crashed now because the id is not correct. Okay, id which you have entered is not correct. You can see the error here. Where is it gone? Ah, cast to object id failed for value. Okay, because your object id, this string can't be converted to object id because we haven't entered correct time. Okay, so in that case you need to handle this exception, because you can see if you don't handle this exception, your socket gets hang up. Actually your server got crashed. Okay, and that's the reason your socket hanged up. Okay, so if you want to handle this error, so in that case what you can do is you can handle it using try catch block. Okay, use try catch block for this. Okay, make sure you are using this inside try catch block, because here only we are finding the user, and then use catch error, and in the error we can send let's say status, let's say 400 because it's a client side error, json and here we'll say data colon error. Okay, we'll just handle the error and we'll send that error to the client, so that client will know what is the error here. Okay, and accordingly we can print the error on the client side. Okay, and our app will not crash because we have handled this using try catch block. Okay, let's see now this works or not. Send, and you will see the error coming here. Okay, and we have a message in that cast to object id failed for value this is okay. So accordingly, on the client side, we can display some error or some alert messages, anything. Okay. So the application will not crash. You can see application is not crashed. Okay. So accordingly, we can send the error. If your ID is correct, you will see the object is returned. Okay. Understood how to perform find by ID operation? Good. Yeah, write it down. Once done, let me know. Is it done? Yes. Hello. Is it done? Okay. Okay. Now let's do the update operation. Okay. And the update operation, as you can see, we have an ID, and from that ID, we are first finding the user. If the user is found, then only we are updating that user. If user is not found, we are simply saying user not found. Okay, that means this is the same case that we are doing with find by ID. Okay, so we can use the same concept here. So I'll just remove this part. Try catch block. Everything else will be here, and then the catch block. Okay, catch block. Okay, so if there is error, then we will throw some error with status code. And yeah, we are using us await, so we'll have to wrap this in async. Okay, now first we will find the user. If user is found, then we will update it. Okay, now rest of the code will remain same. Okay, if user is found, then check the name whether it's undefined or not. If it is not if undefined, update the username. If age is also not undefined, update the age. Okay, and now last thing is, once the user is updated, say now how do you update it? You just try to call user dot save method. Okay, now this is again going to be await because it's a asynchronous call. Okay, you can see that for post and put. Okay, post also we are using save method. Okay, and put also we are using save method, like means like creation and updation, both we are using save method. Okay, now this save method will automatically handle if the user is new, there is no underscore id field, right? So in that case it will create the user. In case of this user dot save, we are already finding the user. That means there will be I underscore ID field, and it will create update the user. Okay, the save method will automatically handle updation or creation. Okay, based on whatever you are doing. If you are finding the user, then it will save it. Finding and saving it, then it will update it. If you are not finding it, you are directly creating the object like this, and then you are calling save, then it will create the user. Okay, but that's it. And now let's see whether your put or update thing is working or not. Okay, right now if you see my user name is Pranesh, so I'll just try to update it with using put method. A URL will remain same because it's the same URL. Okay, for get and put. Now I'll just change the name to Pranit More. Okay, I'll not change age, or I can simply skip the age as well because we are partially updating it. Let's send it, and you will see updated user here. Okay, try to get that user using get by ID. You will see the updated user here. Okay, try to update some more fields using put method. Okay, you will see all of them will be updated. Okay, and now if you try to get that same user, you will see the user has been updated with name, age, both. Okay, so that's how you can perform update operation. Okay, first find the user. If user is not found, then send user not found. If user is found, then update the user. Okay, Now user cannot be found, we can use instead of D, let's use A. Okay, use a valid object ID, then send it, and you will see user not found. Okay, for get, for put also, if you use the same method, so you will see user not found. Okay, because the I'm using valid object ID, but the ID is not or ID is not found. That user with that ID not found. Understood? Put method. How to update it? Yes or no? Okay, only one. I'm seeing only 3, 4 people are replying. Rest everyone is not there. I'm not going to mark your attendance. Okay, I'll check this chat. Now everyone is responding. See?
Uh, I have not installed the MongoDB actually. I have not attended the batch for MongoDB. So I have just gone through the lectures how to perform the CRUD operation. So I'm not doing the practicals today. So I will
Okay,
do it tomorrow. And
but make sure you are installing MongoDB and doing the practicals. Okay.
installed MongoDB, but I was having some problem with that Mongo shell. So I was not able to perform the practical.
Okay,
But
then
I
if you
will
have
complete it.
connected with me,
Okay, sir.
okay. Connect, just message me what error you are getting. I'll try to resolve that error. Okay,
Okay,
we could have connected and then resolved your error, right?
okay, sir.
Okay, but make sure you are doing that practical. If you face any error, just ping me. Okay, try to
Yes,
resolve
sir.
it. Okay,
Yes, sir. Thank you.
well, okay, Divya, no issues. Okay, do this once done. Let me know. Done. Is it done? Okay, one is done. What about others? Is it done about others? Karan is only done. Okay, okay. Then I'll assume everyone is done. Now let's move to the next one, that is delete operation. Okay, so we have done create, find, okay, update, and now delete. Okay, now in the delete section also we'll have the same thing. First of all, find the user. If the user is not found, then delete it. Okay, now in that case, what you can do is let's use the same mechanism. Okay, here I'll use this and then use catch, try and catch. And again async await. Okay, so first find the user. If user is found, then we just have to delete it. Okay, we don't have to do this filter operation, just delete operation. Okay, so it would be user dot delete. Okay, now when you do delete, it's again asynchronous operations, right? Await here. Okay, so user dot delete. Once user is deleted, we don't have anything to send it, so we can just send to 04 no content. Okay, that's it, your delete operation is also done. Okay, let's see. So I have this user. Let's use delete method on this user. Okay, send it. You will see 204 no content. There is no content. That means user is deleted. Try to delete the same user again, and you will find user not found. Okay, because user is already deleted. You can check it out in the database as well. Okay, find. You will see nothing is printed here. Okay, that means the user is deleted. Okay, and that's how you can delete the user or perform delete operation. Okay, now it's not necessary to find the user and delete it. Okay, because there are two queries are happening here. Okay, now instead of directly doing find by id and then delete, you can directly do user or await user dot delete one. Okay, now when you see, or you can say find by id and delete. Okay, find it and delete it. Okay. Or else you can, in the delete one also you can specify the id. Okay, you just want to find and delete it, so just find and delete it. Okay, so you can do this operation as well. Okay, see, if you don't want to perform two queries, because here there are two queries will be performed, first find and then delete. Instead of just to want to perform two queries, if you want to perform only single query, first find it and delete it, then you can be able to do it. Okay, understood everyone, how to delete, perform delete operation? Okay, do it once done, let me know.
Sir,
Yes.
I had one question related to put and patch actually.
Hmm. Yes.
In put also we are partially updating, right? We are not
Yeah.
changing the whole
It's
object.
as I told you, it's totally dependent on the business logic. If you want to do entire update, then in that case you just have to remove this if condition. For put, the entire code will remain same for put and patch. The thing will be you won't be using if conditions. It will be user.name equals to name, user.age equals to age. So whatever the value will come, if it is undefined, then undefined will be assigned. If it is null will be assigned. Okay.
In case of the
So
patch, right?
in case of put, okay.
Put, okay.
So if I want to separate
Okay,
it
it
out,
is
I
changing
just
the whole object in case of
yes,
put.
yes.
Okay.
I just
And in
write a
case of
separate.
patch, so even if we don't define the if condition, it will only update the value which the key and value which we have provided, right?
Correct. In case of
Okay.
patch, yes, it would be this. Like whatever the values you will provide, only those values will be updated. Okay, we just have to, in case of patch, you just have to check whether the fields are there or not and then update it. In case of put, we don't check whether the values are present or not. Okay, it's like this. So it's a put, it's a patch.
Because with if logic only we were doing the put in
Yes,
earlier
yes.
project. So I tried updating it without providing the age value also,
Hmm.
but it was still giving the same output. So I was confused that what is the difference with put and patch.
Output will be there, but the age will not be
No,
updated if you are not.
it was returning the object. Yes, yes, it was returning the same age which was
Hmm.
earlier stored. So that's what
Yeah.
my question was, that it is not showing the undefined.
Yeah, because we have checked, na. If the age is not undefined, then we are not updating it. So it will remain as it is, whatever it was. So patch will be like this and put will be like this. Okay.
Okay, sir. Understood. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, done. Then Okay, so your current operations are done. Only the last operation remaining is just search. Okay, now how do you do the search? In the search case, again, we are having name and age fields. You want to, it totally depends on the logic, business logic, whatever the business logic you are doing, it's whether it's and or, okay, whatever it is. Okay, now we have to perform the query here. Okay, so we'll write a sync. Okay, and in the filtered user section, write await and user dot find. Okay, we are going to find all the users which matches this query. So in this query, okay, we this first parameter is nothing but a filter. Okay, so what filter you are going to write it here, it depends here, right? So if you want to perform and query, you can directly write name colon. Okay, now if you directly write a name here, it would be like a exact match. Okay, you want to perform like case insensitive operation, right? So in that case, you cannot do two lowercase and everything because the name you can convert this name to lowercase, but how will you convert the database name to lowercase? Okay, so in that case, what you can do is you perform a regular expression. Okay, so you can write new reg exp. Okay, this is JavaScript regular expression. Okay, in this you can write a pattern here. Okay, so we have a name, okay, comma, we want to perform case insensitive, so write I here. Okay, so it would be name but case insensitive. So here we can write like slash and everything. Okay, but we can avoid that slash. Okay, and if you want, if you directly write a name here, it would not be include. So we can use this dollar curly brace and name. We want to wrap it inside slash, so we'll write slash. This is a regular expression. Okay, so whatever you write inside a slash will be matched in your entire field. Okay, so in the name field, whatever is written in the two slash will be directly matched here. Okay, so this is a one regular expression for name. Similarly, we can use it for age as well. Now age is a number, right? So we can directly use age here. Okay, it's a plus age because it's a string. We want to convert it into a number. Okay, and this will be gone, or you can for now just comment it. Okay, so here we are checking now. It's a and operation, right? So in and operation, you can directly specify it like this. Okay, if you remember from our MongoDB section. So if you directly write comma separated field and values, then it will be AND operation. If you want to perform OR operation, in that case you have to perform. I'll just comment this one. You have to write dollar $OR and then array. And in that array, everything will be an object. So this is also this is one object. Then comma. This will be another object. Okay. So that's how you can perform OR operation. If you want to perform OR, then this is how you can do it. If you want to perform AND, then this is how you can do it. Okay. Now let's see whether this works or not. Okay. So here my name and age will be there. So I'll write users. Okay. It's user slash search. So it will be search and the query will be get question mark name equals to Pranit. Okay. And age equals to 25. Now I don't have any user, so if you search it, you will not receive anything. So what I will do is I'll just use post method first and create the user. It's a planet. This send. The user is created. Let's use the search method now to get it. So name and age both should match. So send it. Okay, I think there's something missing here. I'll just comment this age for now and check whether this works or not. Okay, I think the name is not properly matching here in the regular expression. I'll just write name for now and check if this works or not. I think directly specifying a name would work. Okay. And age, same, and age is also matching. If I change the age to 24, send, and you will see user is not found. Okay, age to 25, name is matching Pranit, so it will be matched. So if I write anything Ajay, let's say, send it, you will see user is not found. Okay, or the blank. Okay, if you have multiple users, then let's say I have one more user with Pranit, age is 24, and let's create it using post method. Then, and you'll see user is created. Let's create one more user. Let's say Ajay, and with age 26. Send it, and you will see the response created. Okay. Now, if you do search with get, okay, and if you do the exact search here, send, you will find users array with one user. Okay. If you do name A Ajay, okay, and age 25, so you'll not find anything because his age is 26. Okay, so you'll find now a user with it. Okay, now if you want to perform OR operation, then as I told you, you can instead of writing this, you can perform this. Okay, so that obviously here name would be there, so that either or will be matched. Okay, either name would be matched or age would be matched. Okay? It depends on the logic. Now you can see if I use age 25, then whose name is Ajay will be matched, or age is 25 will also be matched. You can send it and you will see find two users here. Okay, because this person's age is 25 and this person's name contains Ajay. Okay, if you specify Pranit here, so here also two users will be found, but the other user will be with name Pranit, and this will be Pranit More and age 24. Okay, understood everyone how to do perform search query? So you can just remove this. This is the and, this is the or query. Understood everyone? Do this and then we will stop here for now. In the next lecture, we will continue with the MongoDB itself, because we now here one thing is you don't need this users array, so you can completely remove this users array now, because we have converted the entire in-memory data to a permanent database. Okay, where the data be stored permanently. Okay. So in the next lecture, we are going to work with Mongoose, and we'll see other features of the Mongoose which will be helpful for us while creating an application. Okay, do this, and I'll give you one homework, okay, where you'll have to create the same APIs for medicine. Okay, right now if you see, we have created it for users. Okay, you have to create the same routes. Okay, same routes, same type of schema for medicine. Okay, medicine will contain medicine name, its price, its expiry date, and a date will have a date field here. Okay, so we can write date like this. Okay, so it would have a date field, and you can enter new date into it. Okay, or whatever the date which is transferred from there. Okay, so that those you have to create those routes, those mean rights, like all the CRUD operations. You can skip search operation, you can, but you have to write all the CRUD operations like find all, find by ID, create, update, patch, delete. Okay, everything. Okay, but it will have those fields. Okay, I will mention what all fields will be there in the assignment section, but create that assignment. Okay, it would be the same. Okay, there will be user routes and user dot j sorry, medicine dot routes and medicine dot js. Okay, make sure you create it, because we would be requiring that in the further sections, because we are going to add some relationships, although we can MongoDB doesn't support relationships, but using Mongoose, we can add relationships. Okay, not just with Mongoose, but MongoDB has some lookup queries where you can perform lookup operations based on the IDs. Okay, if I store the ID here, then we can retrieve the data using Mongoose. Okay, using lookup queries. So we'll see that in the further lectures. Okay. So do this once done. Let me know. I'll just stop the recording.